Let me take a moment and talk about Riverside.fm. It allows you to record studio quality audio and up to 4K video. When you need to record audio and video, Riverside.fm can do it. So if you're looking for a hero platform for all your recording needs, from podcasts to webinars to any video content, Riverside.fm. I've got a promo code for you where you'll receive a 30% discount on the first 3 months of your subscription. I'll give it to you twice. The promo code is SHIPIT. All one word, SHIPIT, and you'll pick up a 30% discount on your first 3 months of your subscription. Riverside.fm.
In this episode of the Football's History Rewind, part number 17, we discuss the great compromise of two factions of football that helped save the game in 1896, including a touchdown catching up in value to a goal from the field. We have this story and more coming up in a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of pigskindispatch.com, your portal to positive football history, and welcome once again to Football History Rewind, part number 17 on the American football journey. Well, before we start looking at football in the year 1896, let's review what was happening on the game at that time. The Big Eastern schools were divided into two factions over using mass momentum and mass interference plays. One group, headed by Harvard and Penn, supported the use of the mass plays, while the other, led by Yale and Princeton, opposed the concept and made rules to outlaw these mass momentum plays. The result was chaos in 1895, as the sport saw two distinct and different sets of rules being used. What made the situation even worse is that the teams in other parts of the country started resenting that the changes were all being made in the East, and they had no say-so. This resulted in even more variations of the football code being played. Football could not survive in this fashion, and all involved knew it. The two opposing sides decided to sit down and hash it out again in the spring of 1896. And the meeting was successful, as concessions were made by both sides of the controversy. The big compromise was a rule revision which made it mandatory for at least 5 players of the offensive team to be on the line of scrimmage at the snap. The other 6 could group together, but 2 of them had to be 5 yards back of the ball or further. Another rule stated that no player on offense can make more than 1 step towards his opponent's goal before coming to a complete stop before the ball was snapped. This did not stop mass momentum altogether, but it did slow it down considerably. A scheme that used the mass interference concept in conjunction with the new stipulations was developed by Philip King, the coach of Princeton. King's offense was called the Revolving Tandem formation, which had 5 players on the line but moved the ends into the backfield with the backs and used a variation of the turtleback style of mass momentum. The key to this formation was that the right end played back and blocked inside the right tackle, and he was accompanied by a pulling left tackle, and a tandem made a hole for the runner to pass through. The blocking scheme in conjunction with the confusing turtleback play confounded defensive opponents all season long. And a turtleback, remember, was an oval-shaped formation of mass interference that slowly unwound blockers until the runner appeared at the end of the whirlwind. And it was an extremely difficult task for defenses to discover who had the ball, let alone maneuver through the entourage of interference. Another great outcome of 1896 rules modification was the place kick, supplanting the drop kick for score. The drop kick still had its place in the rule books of most modern football, but it's seldom seen. January 1st, 2006 NFL game saw then Patriots quarterback Doug Flutie perform the first drop kick for points in the NFL since 1941 to pay homage to the ancient kick for point process. The compromise of 1896 also saw football adopt the heel mark system for fair catches, as explained in the last edition of the series. The rule, along with the new ones that prevented a defense from touching the ball till after the snap, and a prohibition of the snapper back from running with the ball till it touched two other players, were adopted by football as well. The following year, even more rule innovations were introduced by the Rules Committee that helped shape the game. A big meeting took place on February 19, 1897, that featured Representatives Walter Camp as well as the folks from Cornell, Harvard, Penn, Navy, and Princeton. The big news was that for scoring values were altered as a result of a suggestion by Walter Camp. A touchdown would be increased to 5 points from the previous 4-point value, and a field goal would also score 5 points if successful. This would be the first time in history that a touchdown score would be at least the same value as a goal kick from the field. This in itself was a very large turning point in the strategy of the game. A safety was given credit of 2 points for the opponents of the team tackled in their own goal line, while the points after a touchdown was reduced from 2 points to just 1. The officials were giving more timing authority too. The Rules Committee addressed the growing issue of games not being completed due to darkness. There were many cases of controversy in close games that ended prematurely due to lack of daylight. Games could only be played during daylight as fields with lights were a long way off, and this posed a problem in many games as darkness ended games long before the prescribed 75 minutes had expired. The Rules Committee empowered the referee to shorten halves as he saw fit in the case of impending darkness or other natural causes. Now, you'd almost wonder why, if they were having a 75-minute game, why not start the game a little earlier to just, do away with the darkness issue? Schedule them, 1 o'clock game on a Saturday. Football had to overcome adversity the past few years of the game, and people behind it were enjoying the lack of turmoil. They could now spend their resources on ways to improve and tweak the rules. Plus, look back as we will watch football finish out the 1890s and delve into a new century right here on the PigskinDispatch.com, your place for the good news about football. And, you might be saying to yourself, hey, we've gone all the way to 1896 and we haven't even talked about professional football. And professional football had happened by now. But, my friend, tomorrow's edition of the Scandals and Scoundrels, we're going to address just that. Professional football in the 1892 season. So make sure you check that out too. We're sure glad that you were able to join us today. I just want you to know that most of the information that we garnered today came from Park H. Davis, the great historian from the 19th and early 20th century. In his book written in 1911, American Football, the Intercollegiate Game. Great authority on sports and especially of football, and glad that we could take so much information from his book. That's just a tremendous source. So we hope to see you tomorrow, and till tomorrow, have a great gridiron day. We're taking a peek over at the chains and the down marker. It's 4th and long. We're going to have to punt the ball and get on out of here, but we'll have another series tomorrow for your football history headlines, so be sure to tune in. We invite you to check out our website, PigskinDispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. PigskinDispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast. PigskinDispatch.com is a proud affiliate of the Sports History Network, the headquarters of sports yesteryear.
Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandom at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.